don't know how you're going to catch it.
The San Francisco Giants had the luxury of Hall of Fame advice to start their '89 campaign.
There you go. Very good.
Third baseman turned outfielder Kevin Mitchell was entering his prime and hoping to form a powerful 1-2 punch with slugger Will Clark.
We're gonna sneak up on some people. You know, the way everybody's talking right now, the Padres haven't won, and Dodgers are defending world champs. We'll sneak up on some people.
We'll give them a rough day.
Yeah, give them all they can handle.
At the dawn of the 1989 baseball season, there were flickers of the dawn of democracy on the other side of the world, in China.
The Red Sox are going for a win in their third consecutive game. Hi again, everybody. I'm Dwayne Kuiper with Mike Krukow, and again, it looks like a great evening for a ball game.
Well, it really does, Kuiper, and I'm anxious to get this one started.
Welcome to this American League matchup featuring the Baltimore Orioles and the Boston Red Sox.
In the spotlight was a prodigious new talent looking to usher in a new era.
Here's the game's first batter, Larry Bigby. This guy isn't great against right-handed pitching, but he does.
Yeah, it's something magical about it. First at bat, it's a double off of Dave Stewart.
Well, it doesn't take him long
And a strike to begin this contest.
This right-handed pitcher strikes out
Kingdom hits a home run.
He's out there on the mound.
Strike with a fastball. It's around 60 degrees as the game is about to start. Got him on strikes.
Hey, Ty, he was able to get ahead of the count. Batter never caught up. Good strike at the power.
Great arm, played a great outfield. I just admired how
The
easy
catch is made.
he made baseball look.
The next batter is Miguel Tejada.
As exciting as Griffey made baseball for Seattle, the Mariners were still building for the future,
Balls in one strike.
which led them to trade away pending free agent ace Mark Langston for a package of pitchers, including a 6-foot 10-inch southpaw
And he
named
gets the call,
Randy
0-2.
Terrific pitch there, Clark. He put the fastball right where he wanted for a called strike.
When he gets traded, I don't really like that trade because we trade too many good players in that moment.
But the Expos were in win-now mode.
You got to take some chances.
They
That's
check
why
down
you
at
have to take a
first.
chance.
Meanwhile,
And he got
baseball's other Canadian franchise was making a midseason move as well, as the Blue Jays were preparing to christen their new ballpark, Skydome.
Here's the manager's
But
lineup.
first, they added a few more memories in Exhibition Stadium.
Taking the mound to start for the visitors, Jake Westbrook. Here's a look at how the
And with
defense
the
sets
score
up to
tied in
begin
the
the ball
ninth,
game.
the bell tolled. One week
Dirksen
later,
will hit next.
the Blue Jays began June in their new state-of-the-art home.
Howdy, this is Kelly Green of the Toronto Blue Jays. I'd like to welcome all of you
and it's
to this
0-1.
week in baseball. This
His number one
fabulous
pitch
day
is
place
fastball.
here that we call home. Our great home. That's what it's all about.
Get your opening day Skydome program.
Here it is. Now this dome is really open. There goes the ball, and that will go on to the
The center fielder is in full stride chasing this fly. He's on with a leadoff single.
Oh, he drops the head on that one. The pitch passes over.
Crime
Jackson
hit the
steps
first
into the
home
batter's
run,
box.
but the Brewers took the first base.
He's off to second. The throw is
And yet there was more
down.
history ahead for the Jays.
There's a perfect
As
example.
3 weeks later, they won over Baltimore with new manager Cito Gaston, setting up a baseball first.
And tonight, baseball history will be made here at Memorial Stadium as the Orioles' Frank Robinson and the Blue Jays' Cito Gaston become the first.
He belts it way back, and
To me,
gone.
that seemed normal. So I guess that's the best thing you can say is that when you're looking out, you see baseball players. You don't see racers or where they're from.
The Orioles won 16-6, another highlight of a surprising start that had lifted them into first.
There was no expectations going in for our team, and then all of a sudden there was momentum that was built.
The Birds had lost 107 games in '88, but '89 was a new campaign with a fresh batch of young talent. Unlike the upstart O's, the A's had been expected to lead their division, and sure enough, strong pitching pushed them to the top of the AL West.
And a strike.
Back in the senior circuit, the Cubs were holding a 9 lead over Montreal, while the Giants were atop the West and
He's
opening
on
up
first with a
their
base hit.
Yeah, that boy can handle it. Got him
David
paw
Ortiz.
out there and he grabbed a hold of it.
Westbrook delivers a ball, 1-0.
Dude, that's it. You do
He
know
brings a
you're
good
gonna be
four-seam
on
fastball,
every
a
highlight
change,
reel for the
and a
rest of your
slide.
life.
And as the season headed toward
That's
the
over
All-Star
for a
game,
strike.
more highlights were on the horizon. On the night of July 4th,
hard to center
1989,
field.
in America's birthplace, there came a reminder that in the national pastime, just because
He's on
something
first with
happens
a base
once,
hit.
Ortiz didn't try to do too much. He just took what they gave him. That's a good piece of hitting for him.
doesn't mean it can't happen again. It had been less than 10 months since Browning's perfect game in Cincinnati, and now in Philly, he bid for another.
Swing and a miss. Down he goes.
Next at the plate, Lance Berkman.
Through it, 24 Phillies
guy's
came to
swing
bat,
is a
and Browning
thing of beauty.
retired every one.
Westbrook misses, and the count is 1-0.
Hey, partner, if the pitcher
But
can
then
keep the
he
ball
keeps
low in the
on
zone,
right
you
off
might
the
be able
bat.
to induce a ground ball to
There's
start,
one
too.
to the right center field gap and drops for a base hit. Line goes to second with a leadoff double, and Tom Rowley.
Slider inside.
His right-hander's not going to strike out too many hitters. His stuff just is not overpowering.
You know, you never anticipate doing it twice, and here I go into the ninth.
2-2 count.
You know, I just run a little bit out of gas. He's leading the game to a standing
He comes up a little bit short.
The reception very warm.
In Baltimore, a
reaches
surprising
with no
team was
outs.
earning big cheers of their own.
He did a great job to short up there with 2 strikes to get a hit.
We started to believe in ourselves. The fans certainly started to believe in the product that we were putting out on
The
the field.
Orioles
They
are
started
getting their
posing the
bullpen
question,
ready.
why not? Why not going from being worse than the league to first in 1 year?
At the All-Star
makes his
break,
way to the
Baltimore held a
plate.
5.5-game edge in the AL East,
Understands
while
hitting,
out
and it
west, the
shows.
Angels, for the moment, had a narrow
ball and
lead
no
on the
strikes.
A's. The National League was just as tight, with the Expos topping the East by a game and a half. And the
And a
Giants up
fastball
2
in
in the
for a
West,
strike.
thanks in big part
This
to a
pitch is a little
dynamic
wild at
duel.
times, and will issue more walks than he'd like to.
Kevin Mitchell. How about those guys?
In the midst of a career year, Kevin Mitchell was more confident than ever.
The
He
runner
hit a
is
home
forced
run
out
leader
at
reached the
home.
milestone on
There's an
July
out.
8th in St. Louis.
Now there's a
with his
great
30th
example of the
plus
defense
of the
picking you up.
season.
They turned a sweet double play right there.
He was over the 414-foot sign to the deepest part of the ballpark.
And 3 innings later, Mitchell
There are 2
unloaded
runners
again.
on with 2
Back
outs.
to the fence, it's gone.
And a
home
strike.
run. 31st of the year, and now he's got 80 RBIs.
That night, like so many other times in '89,
This dude has 2
Mitchell
really
and his
good
slugging
pitches he uses
partner
to get
shared
guys
the
out.
power fever.
High to right, and back and gone. Home run.
With a
Bigby
330
makes the
average
catch
and one of
for
the
the out.
sweetest swings in the game, Will Clark's popularity was borne out in the All-Star vote.
I'd like to thank the
Scored
fans.
2
It
that
certainly
half
is
inning.
a thrill and a great surprise to be, vote getter.
His AL counterpart was the Royals' Bo Jackson, and in Anaheim for his first All-Star game, the two-sport phenom would shine the brightest.
Easy play for the right fielder.
See if I
The right fielder makes the catch.
He picked that ball up right off the bat and camped under it for an easy out.
that was selected for the All-Star game.
Painted the corner. Great pitch. And here's the delivery. Great pitch. He hit the corner.
This guy's a strikeout pitcher, pure and simple.
Yeah, it was a sight to watch. It really was. I was going to be
1-2 the count.
Hey, that looks like it's going there, too. Eric Davis to the track. It is gone.
Line
The
drive right to the
back-to-back
shortstop.
bombs tied the score and gave the AL a
He's on
momentum
first
they
with
would
a base
never
hit.
relinquish.
Up next, Sean Casey.
Shuts down the National and beats him 5-3.
Bo was the game's MVP. And with
That's
the
a
second
ground
half
ball to
ahead,
the third
the
baseman.
stars of the game were focusing on more big
He
things
reaches with a
on
single.
their way to October.
Guy coming through on plays like that can turn a whole ball game on.
As the second half of the '89 season began, the division battles continued to intensify. In the AL East, the Orioles were clinging to a narrow lead over the Red Sox, but another club was coming on strong.
That one
Fred
splits
McGraw,
the outfielder.
George Bell,
He's around
and Kerry
third.
Gruber were the big bats in Toronto, though
A
it was
run
pitching
crosses
that
the
got
plate.
the Jays' August started in dramatic fashion.
That's an RBI double.
He does a great job of knocking the run, and look at this, they're still threatening.
This red-handed hitter is not a great but he's not terribly either.
It was a familiar feeling for Steve,
Sanchez
who
delivers
in
a
his last
strike
2
with the
starts in
fastball.
88 had lost
He
no
can
hit
throw 4
bids
different
with
pitches.
1 out to go.
And there goes
Popped him up.
another no-hit bid for Dave Steve.
Puts it away for the out.
Down to that 9th inning. A little cider.
Batting against right-handed pitching, this left-handed hitter is fairly steady.
Well, it is disappointing, but I've been through before, and we won the game 2-1, and that's really what
There's a
matters.
strike.
And the Jays would
got
keep
one
on
pitch
winning,
that is
going
superior to the
20-9 in August and landing in first place by month's end. In the NL West, the Giants were leading the pack, led by a now familiar pair.
And on 3
And
pitches,
then
he's
there was
gone.
Dave Drevecki,
Heading into
who
the
a
bottom
year
of the
earlier had
second.
been
The score
diagnosed
is
with a cancerous
2-1.
tumor in his pitching arm.
Taken out.
Ramirez
Most of
comes
his
to
shoulder
the plate.
muscle. The doctors told him that there's no way that he
Zero
could
stuff
ever pitch again.
But on August 10th, Drevecki
Westbrook
remarkably
deals
returned to the
strike
mound,
1.
going 8
God, this
innings
guy's
in a
more than
4-3 win over the
Every
Reds.
time he gets on the
It
mound.
was an amazing story. What he came back from, it was a one-of-a-kind.
Pitcher delivered the changeup right there, and the batter could not
heartwarming
get
a
any
story
word.
as his first game was. The second game was just so sad.
It was in the 6th inning in Montreal. Drevecki threw a pitch, and his arm just snapped.
I was the first one there, and he looked at me and he said, Will,
Hey,
I'm
the
in
pitcher
so much
wins the
pain.
battle.
It
Sweet
was
pitch
pretty
to get the
devastating
kick.
when we were out there.
The broken arm meant Drevecki's season was over. But the pitcher stayed with the Giants, remaining a source of inspiration.
The next batter
for
is
his team.
Trot Nixon.
Back in Chicago, the Cubs were inspired by second-year manager Don Zimmer,
Going out in strike zone,
playing
they're
more
hoping the batter would
consistently as
fight.
the season progressed.
And he gets the call
After a
strike.
streaky first half, the Cubs went 46-30 the rest of the way, behind Ryan Sandberg,
Ground ball to the
Mark
third
Griggs,
baseman.
and leading Rookie of the Year
Got
candidate,
him.
Jerome Wall.
The guy has just been a heck of a player for us. He's hit right at the 300 mark the whole year. He went on a 30-game rookie streak.
That's strike 1.
He showed excellent command with that pitch, a strike right on the edge of the zone.
Great pitch. He hit
Walton's
the
hit
corner.
streak was the
The
second
pitcher nailed
longest
the
ever
corner with
by
that
a
delivery,
rookie.
right on target.
Meanwhile, a 42-year-old
Fastball
legend was
outside.
showing he wasn't too old for the record books.
2-2
There was
count.
definitely a sense of elation in that stadium, and something we'd never really felt before. At that point, it was probably the
Full
single
count
most
here.
dramatic moment in Ranger history.
Ricky Henderson will be in the record books as strikeout number 5.
The side is retired in order.
Though he flailed that night against Ryan, Henderson had been a huge spark for the A's since being reacquired
After
from the
2,
Yankees
Baltimore
in June.
trails by 1.
We were already a very good team. When we added him, that's
Next
what took
up,
us to the
Larry
next level.
Bigby.
Well, has he done the job the A's wanted him to do or not? It's been incredible.
And for the second straight year, the A's were heading to the postseason.
0-1.
The A's are Western Division champions for the second year in a row.
The Cubs clinched the NL
That's
East
a
in the
pop-up.
season's final week,
Cubs win the division.
First foul.
Cubs win the division.
and the West was won the next day.
A lot of hard work, a lot of sacrifice.
That's a 3-pitch strikeout.
That guy's got 2
With
strikes
the
on him, but he
division
freaks
decided,
out.
the
He takes
Giants'
that thing
final
and he
series
missed
of
it by
the
a
season
mile.
turned into a showdown between Will Clark and Tony Gwynn.
Going into that
Stepping
weekend,
in,
he
Willie
was leading, I
Bloomquist.
think, by a point. He was hitting 333. I was hitting 332.
And after the first 2 games, Clark still had his narrow lead. Then, in the final game, Gwynn pulled ahead, barely.
There's a bouncer up the middle, fire behind the bag, flags it down and throws.
Hit weakly down the line.
It was bang, bang.
It bounces
I
fair.
thought
He's
Eddie
rounding
Montague was
first.
the first base umpire. And he went
Safe on the play. Two-base
The
hit.
first base umpire initially started to call Gwynn out.
You know, if you're going to win one, you don't want to win a cat. So the last time up, I was really
Next at
trying
the
to
plate, Miguel
On the ground right
Tejada.
side, a base hit.
rolling a ball in the right field for a base.
One
hit,
out
and
and a
that
runner
really
on
clinched
second.
it.
Tony Gwynn 3 for 4 with a 336 batting average. Will Clark at 333.
The biggest stakes on the season's final weekend rested in Toronto, where the second-place Orioles were hoping to compete a worst-to-first season by defeating the Blue Jays for the AL East crown.
This is what it's all about. Baseball.
Reset and do it again.
And the best man will win in this series. It's not a matter of someone lucked out. This is it.
We need to go win 2 out of 3 to force a playoff in Toronto, and we played
Take
extremely
slow.
well in the first 2 games.
Play by Ripken. Unbelievable.
But we lost both games in heartbreaking style.
The 1-2 pitch.
He's on his way to the plate.
And the Blue Jays win it.
A run scores.
At the Orioles'
It's
season-long
tied at
contention
2-2.
at ultimate defeat at the hands of the Toronto Blue Jays. It is testament to baseball's great strength, which is the long season. You don't crown champions in June.
The Blue Jays are on their way to the 1989 American League Championship Series.
For the second straight
roller
season,
to the right
the
side.
Oakland A's were heading to October.
He reaches with a one-out
And
single.
after finishing the regular season on a tear that earned them the best record in baseball, they'd be starting the playoffs at home against the Blue Jays.
So the Toronto Blue Jays and the Oakland A's are set for game one of their best of 7.
Toronto's ace Dave Steve would match up with Dave Stewart in game 1.
He gets 2 strikeouts to open the
The
first.
pitch is hit to center field.
And while Steve
Over the
hung to
shoulder,
a 3-2
what a
lead after
catch.
5, the A's' biggest bat caught up with him leading off the 6th.
This lefty struggles at times against right-handed pitching.
See you later.
We got something going, and that's how we've won all year.
And the A's were just heating up, as it was time for the Ricky Henderson show.
Hit him to load the bases.
We knew we got the break. We got the break because we got the bases loaded.
Bases loaded, 1 out.
On the ground.
Grounded to short.
That takes care of the side with a runner left on first.
And the throw gets
After
away.
2.5, it's tied at 2-2.
That's probably the best score time ever.
Jackson is the next hitter.
Create those and made us score some runs.
Nobody
put us
out.
in the lead of the game, and the game was in our hands.
Ricky proved to be the difference maker in the A's game 1 win. And from there, he seemed almost unstoppable.
The ALCS was dominated by Ricky Henderson.
And he draws
This is
the
a
walk.
close pitch called a ball.
Tying run aboard.
Sometimes you try to make a hitter chaser.
Instance of
Exactly
game
what you saw
2,
right there.
he stole second,
He's laid out. He's got it. What a great diving catch.
stole third,
He goes again. He's in there.
Getting on base, still second, third, scores on Carney's single. And that's a run he created.
Cabrera steps into the batter's box. Base is empty with 1 out.
Henderson would steal 2 more in the
Taken
A's
for a
game 2
ball.
win, setting
Sometimes
an
you try to make a
LCS
hitter chaser.
record with 4
Exactly
overall.
what you saw right there.
Henderson has dominated.
Ricky was a one-man wrecking crew in that ALCS against Toronto.
Pitch taken for
Get
a
a run
ball.
home, maybe more. Mosby going back, looking up, out of here and into the black seats. There aren't many
Pitch
leadoffs
misses for a ball.
who can launch one like that to dead center field.
After Toronto's Game 3 victory, Ricky's 2 homers in Game 4 were critical in returning the momentum to the A's. Even as the moment that turned the most heads
Got him
came
to
from
pop it
another
up.
Oakland power source.
This one is
It
pulled
was fun to
foul.
be a part of that because I don't think any of us had ever seen a ball hit that far.
Canseco bids for the second homer of the inning.
He hit it,
And he
the
takes the
dugout
walk.
just went
Guys
silent,
who know the zone are the
waiting to
best type
see
of hitters.
where
They
it landed.
never get cheated. That guy showed he
Settles
knows
into
the
the
zone.
upper deck.
Up next, David Ortiz.
About the jaw.
Partner, this
Thing
runner is
that
excellent at
adds so
reading
much
pitches
to
and
it
their
is that
deliveries.
happens
I
in
wouldn't
the
be shocked if he
championship
went here.
series.
Flanagan was touched for 3 home runs.
Line drive, hit past up the middle.
And 2 by Ricky Henderson.
He's
If
on
the series
with a
were to
one-out
end
single.
tomorrow, you could close the ballot
Hit that
box
ball
for series
line.
MVP.
No
Ricky
doubt.
did it with power. He did it with finesse. He did it stealing bases. Anything that one player can do to help a team win a game and dominate a series, he did it.
Henderson's master display earned him series MVP as the A's closed it out in Game 5.
And the Oakland A's have a return engagement in the World
They've set that
Series.
defense at double play
Now,
depth. If you can get a ground
Oakland
ball
just
right here,
had
they
to
might
wait and
get
see
2.
what their opponent in this fall classic would also be their
Westbrook makes the
National League
routine
neighbor.
catch.
Hey, that's a great plan.
And
A
we
very
welcome
tough
you to
line
Game
drive.
1
That's
of
one
the
of the toughest balls in
championship
baseball.
series between the San Francisco Giants and the Chicago Cubs. And this, a matchup of managers who know each other very well.
We talked in July when we were here that, would it be something if we met here in the playoffs? And here we are. The one good thing about it, one of us going to manage in the World Series.
He goes to second.
for the Giants. Scott Burrell successfully from the bullpen to the starting rotation. ERA 2.28 to lead the National League.
That's
and
the
for the
final
Cubs,
out of the inning.
23-year-old Greg Maddux finished at 19-12. Earned run average 2.95.
But if the pitching resumes of both Game 1 starters were impressive,
after 3 innings, it's tied at 2-2.
early indications
one
were
hit in the game.
that it would be a hot bat that would dictate the story of this series.
Drive to right, and Austin goes
Ground
back
ball
on
to the
track.
shortstop.
The Ivy, it's gone. Home run, Will
Good
Clark.
start to the inning, a leadoff single.
That's just normal.
Keesnick strolls to the plate.
I look at Will every day, and I know he's going to do something outstanding that's just going to amaze
Here
me
comes
every
the
time
first
I'm hitting
pitch of the
behind him.
at-bat. He's batting .208 with 2 long balls and 6 runs batted in. Sanchez with the 0-1 offering.
Will Clark, and that has broken him wide open.
Clark's 6 RBIs in Game 1 set an NLCS record.
3 pitches,
and it
3
only took him
strikes.
4 innings to get there.
3 pitches, 3
Still,
strikes, then
the
get easier that
thrill
part.
wasn't the only sizzling first base bat in the series, as his Cub counterpart also launched a bid to carry his team.
Yeah, that was the Will Clark and Mark Grace show.
Best hitter consistently on their ball club, Mark Grace.
I went toe-to-toe with Will pretty good.
The 1-0 pitch to the Cub cleanup hitter.
He puts it away.
The right field line in there.
The next batter is Larry Bigby.
Mark Grace and Will Clark in meaningful games, matching hit for hit, RBI for RBI. It was classic.
A ball.
Goes to left field, and it's going to land.
Clark now 3 for 3 in the ball game.
1 on and 2 outs.
Get locked into where
Pitch misses.
Hit, not missing it. And both of us didn't miss it the whole series.
When those two guys came to the plate, it
Taken for
didn't
a ball.
really matter. You could have thrown them a rosin bag, they were going to get a hit.
But while Grace stayed as hot as Clark, the Giants won both games 3 and 4 to take a
3-1
commanding lead in
count.
the series. And with Game 5 tied at 1 in the bottom of the 8th,
The
Clark
count
would once
runs
again
full.
be the difference.
There was just really no way to get him out. I know.
The
I
run
gave
at
up
first
the
is
single
off.
that lost the last game to Will.
Line drive.
He's safe at first.
Anytime you start the runner, you create a hole in the infield, and that hit and run worked perfect.
Bloomquist takes his
And
turn
an
at
inning
bat.
later, it was all over.
Breaking ball hit to Robbie Thompson.
On the ground.
That's it.
The Giants were headed to
Out
a
number
World
3,
Series
2 men
that would be
left
an
on
all
base.
Bay Area affair.
Going into the bottom of the 4th, it's tied at 2-2.
The Giants and A's were in the World Series. And while most fans had
Bottom of
no
the order
trouble
coming
choosing
up.
sides in the battle,
This guy isn't great against right-handed pitching, but he does all right.
others had a hard time deciding on their loyalty. For the A's, it was a second straight
Popped 'em
Fall
up.
Classic appearance and a chance to prove the
The catch
previous
is
false
made by the
disappointment was
shortstop.
ancient history.
Our guys
Next
were
up,
really
Manny
upset
Ramirez.
with that 88 World Series.
This guy isn't great against right-handed pitching, but he
From
does
day
all right.
one of spring training,
Just
our
missed.
mission was to get back.
Sometimes you try to make a hitter chase your pitch. That's exactly what you saw
and then we
right
had
there.
to finish it off during the postseason.
La Russa and his formidable lineup were primed and ready to finish their mission. But the Giants were far from small-time opponents who would just roll over.
They were pretty loaded, too. They had Will Clark, they had Kevin Mitchell, the MVP. So the Giants really thought that they would be in this thing.
Since
On
a shallow
paper,
fly
there were
ball to
reasons
the
to
right
pick each
side.
team.
He
But
makes
once
the
Game 1
play.
started, a very different story
This dude's got
unfolded.
some kind of athletic
In
ability.
the bottom of the second, Tony Phillips' RBI single plated the game's first run, and the A's added a pair to make it 3-0 after 2.
Stepping in, Trot
Then
Nixon.
in the third, Dave Parker showcased some trademark Oakland power.
0-1 the count.
Drive to deep right field.
And the pitch
Parker has hit his first World Series
hit to the
home
right
run.
side.
It's 4-0.
Walt Weiss's solo shot in the
Westbrook
fifth gave
retires
the
the
A's a
side in
5-run
order.
lead, which was
The
more
score
than
is
enough
tied.
for Oakland A's Dave Stewart.
Stepping in, 1
He
for
done it
2,
with the Giants
Miguel
all night
Tejada.
long.
Dave relished
Pitch missed
the big
inside.
moment, and I just think he took it so personal. It's almost like,
He
either
delivers.
wins or dies.
And down he goes here.
Pitch taken
In the
for a
ninth,
ball.
Stewart was looking to complete his masterpiece. But then the Giants put 2 men on, with nobody out.
At that time, I was thinking, if
Ground
I'm going
ball
to keep
pulled
this
down to
setup,
the left
I got to
side.
get a couple strikes.
They make the play.
Cabrera really made a nice throw right there. That's a job well done.
This righty hasn't figured out the art of hitting, and he struggles mightily at times.
6 strikeouts.
Got him.
I go 3-1 to Candy Maldonado, and I'm thinking, don't give in. If you
There's more than just a few righty hitters who are superior against right-handed pitchers than this guy. He crushes it. Just missed the home run. He's on his
With
way
a
to
powerful
second.
offensive display and a stellar performance
Two
by
base
the
hit.
A's, Game 1 had gone all according to plan for the A's. And in the first inning the next night, they picked up where they left off.
This one down the line for a base hit and maybe more. Henderson comes in to score. 1-0 Oakland.
The Giants would finally
Stepping
score a
in,
run
1
to tie
for
it in the
2,
third.
Sean
But in
Casey.
the fourth, Oakland put 2 runners on for Terry Steinbach, who delivered a new kind
Hit
of fall
towards the
classic
shortstop. That's the
called
third out with 1 man left on second. After 4 1/2, this contest is tied. Coming up this inning, the 1, 2, and 3 hitters. This batter absolutely destroys right-handed
After
pitching.
the press conference that night that Tony had made that prediction. As soon as I hit that ball, I knew for sure it was a home run.
Steinbach's blast gave the A's a
Hit towards the
4-run lead
shortstop.
and settled down a shaky Mike
One
Moore,
down.
who would go on to pitch 7 strong innings.
Kennedy gone on 3 pitches.
That left things in the hands of the A's dominant bullpen, which closed out Game
Jackson
2
takes it,
and
it's
secured a
outside.
commanding series.
That was a purpose pitch. Change up off the plate, hoping the batter would go
We
chase
won the
it.
first 2 games, 5-0, 5-1. Roger Craig was a terrific manager and a real good, hard-nosed competitor with a wonderful background in the big leagues.
2 balls,
He said,
1
when you
strike.
come to Candlestick,
Sometimes you try to make the hitter chase your
it's gonna be
pitch.
a lot
That's exactly what you saw
different.
right there.
No one could have known how true those
3 and
words
1,
would.
a hitter's pitch.
As the
Sometimes you try to
89
make the
World
hitter chase
Series
your
moved
pitch.
across
That's
the
exactly
bay
what
of
you
San
saw right
Francisco, Giants fans
He
were
gives
more
up the
than
base on balls.
Nothing positive comes out of this guy. He's falling behind. He finally walks
But
the
then at 5:04
Hey,
Pacific,
Kaya, as a manager, you hate to see this guy come up. His speed makes him a
an
constant threat.
unprecedented and frightening form of World Series drama unfolded.
And he fails to get Dave Parker at
2
second
balls,
base.
no
So the
strikes.
Oakland A's
Guy, he has first base and hold the run. There's a big hole in the right side of the infield. This guy be thinking about that with a hit and run.
He walks him on 4 pitches.
Walks always seem to come around and hurt you. He falls behind the batter and he never gets back into his bag.
Up next with a pair of singles, David Ortiz. Taken for a ball.
Guy, his ball strike ratio is not where it should be. He's throwing way too many balls.
High for a ball.
We went down to the dugouts. Everybody was concerned about their families, trying to get them down.
Fastball
And then
in
you're hearing
tight for a
pieces
ball.
of what's going on.
6.9. That's the Bay Bridge class.
That's the pitcher's 4th walk of the game.
It's an earthquake.
Oh, it's too bad he walks this guy. He just lets him get away.
Things are moving, but
Next at the plate, Lance Burnfield.
then to see the news and to see the bridge and to see the
Out of the zone, that's
all
a
the
ball.
devastation down at the marina. Now I'm scared.
We're back here in the production truck, and it's funny.
Out of
I think
the
everybody
zone, that's a ball.
at first
He can hit the ball deep to the outfield. They'll get a
You get
run.
the sense that people are almost more nervous
3-0
now
count.
as the reality of what has taken place begins to sink in.
Dave Fincher, who was the commissioner at the time, called
A walk forces home a run.
In fact, the pitcher had chances to end that.
probably didn't get the people out of here because the next more aftershock and you'll know what can happen.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are postponing the game because there is no power in the stadium. We would like you to leave in an orderly way. I don't believe there's any great danger, but we have
Hit
no
towards the
idea when the
shortstop.
power is going to be on, and we have to get people out of here before it gets
And a
dark.
run scored. The Orioles trail the Red Sox by only 2 runs.
The A's and Giants walking off of Candlestick Field with their families in tow, and Terry Steinbach's wife was crying, and it was a bad, bad deal.
The earthquake took the lives of 57 people and injured thousands, and with an
Inside
estimated
for a
$6
ball with the
billion
slider.
worth of property damage. It was a moment in
Misses
history
away for
that
a
changed
ball.
more than just
He
the course
swiped
of the
one
World
base.
Series.
We definitely needed to take a step back and assess,
Taken for a ball.
what went on. And
He's batting
the loss of life that happened
with
here
one
in the
long
Bay Area.
ball and
But by
4
the
runs
time the
batted
World
in.
Series resumed,
fact,
it
he
was
showed
a
a
healing
great
process
outlook. He was
for the
patient,
Bay
worked
Area.
the pitcher,
But
and
the World
ended up
Series
with a
had
free
definitely
pass.
lost some of its luster.
And when the
Up
series
next,
was restarted
Manny
10 years
Ramirez.
later, the prologue was a pregame
The bases are
ceremony
loaded with 2
to
men
honor the
out.
first responders who'd been
Low.
among the heroes that day.
Thank you very much, and the Bay Area salutes you for
Fastball
your great
inside.
effort in this time lead.
Then, at last, it was time again to play ball.
Pitch taken for a ball.
Sometimes you try to make the hitter chase your pitch. It's exactly what
The
you
A's
saw right
jumped
there.
out to an early 4-1 lead, but then the
He's
Giants
walked in a
tried to
run.
claw back against Game 1 winner Dave
Positive
Stewart.
comes out of this guy. He's far behind, and finally locks the game.
But the A's were able to hang on to the lead, and in the fifth, they expanded it in familiar fashion.
Jose Canseco comes to the plate. He singled in the first inning to snap an 0-for-23 streak over
The
the
next
last
batter
two
is
overs.
Trot Nixon.
Comes up here with runners at first and second and nobody out. Drilled in deep left center field, and Jose Canseco has hit it out. A 3-run home run.
0-2.
7-3 over.
One batter later, Dave Henderson hit his second homer of the game.
Taken for a
And then
ball.
in the sixth, Carney Lansford put it all but out of reach, and in the
Ginter
process,
with the 1-2
made some
offer.
fall
The
classic
appeal
history.
goes to third.
Hits it in the air to left field and deep, and going back is Mitchell, and that one is gone. And that ties a
It's a
World
full
Series
count.
record for most home runs in the game by a team, and most in the game
He
by
breaks for the
teams
plate.
as well.
They were able to take advantage of the control problems by the pitcher. They picked up a couple of freebies.
Will be way ahead of the hitters. See what? It's 9-3.
Oakland would take the slugfest 13-7, putting the Giants in a 3-games-to-none hole and leaving their manager grasping for ways to stop the juggernaut A's offense.
Dirksen watches the ball away.
What are you going to do to prepare them better for tomorrow?
Maybe I'd play my outfielders a little bit deeper.
2-1.
That was a close one there, partner.
Put them on the other
But I
side of the
understand
fence. I guess no other clubs ever won it when they went 3 down, but
Down low for a ball.
We need. We can humble you in a minute. We'll be here tomorrow and we'll keep battling.
Early evening in San Francisco.
3-2
As you look at
count.
Candlestick Park as we get set for the 4th game of the World Series.
The runner on
The
third is
tale of the
breaking.
first 3
He
games
dropped
of the
it.
Battle of the Bay had been all over.
That'll do it for the inning.
Still, even in the deepest of holes, the Giants were trying their best to stay loose, even as the opponents were just 1 win away
With 4
from a
innings
title.
remaining, Baltimore trails by
We were on a
4.
mission and we were rolling and we felt like we were
For more on
unstoppable.
MVP
We're going
baseball,
to bring home
log
that
on
ring.
to
And it wouldn't take long
EASports.com.
for a
EA
red-hot
Sports,
leadoff hitter
it's in
to
the
set the
game.
tone for Game 4.
Here's a guy who's
Just
been
3
known to
pitches
struggle
of
at
that.
times against right-handed
And he gets a
pitching.
high fly ball to left field, and that one is
Base hit to lead off the inning. Keesnick up next.
Henderson on a 2-0 pitch. Swinging away, and they can get 1-0 Oakland.
Right now, the defense should be thinking, too. The pitcher can really help out by throwing something low in the strike zone.
Before the first pitch is made, to say that I'm
He
going to
hits it over towards second.
Say it and get on the field and do it.
He
It's
makes
just a
the
case
play.
of when the spotlight was on, he knew to turn it on.
Henderson was on his way to batting .474 in this series, and his performance with the bat might have been contagious, considering what happened in the second, when A's starter Mike Moore came to the plate.
And it's into the air to center field, and Butler races back, and it's over.
It's sharply into left field for a base hit. He's around second. Throw goes to the cutoff man. He's on first with a base hit.
They're making their own breaks in the bases today, Kai. That was some good base running there to go
With
from
a
first to
7-0
third of the
lead
second.
after 5, the A's seemed intent on pulling away, and the props were coming out.
Next up, Larry Bigby.
But in the 6th, Kevin Mitchell's 2-run homer got the Giants on the board, and an inning later, they'd keep chipping away.
That's hit sharply, base hit into left center field. Butler had to go back towards second. Now being waved in, around third. It's 8-6.
Suddenly, the Giants had what they'd been missing all series, momentum. And the NL MVP was the tying run at the plate.
2 down, and Kevin Mitchell is the batter.
a deep fly ball, and they should score a run.
Left field. Henderson going back, but has a play on the track. And the Giants come that close.
That's the third out, and they leave the runner stranded in scoring position.
As Oakland added insurance.
Now there's a great example of the defense picking you up. They turned a sweet double play right there.
All season long.
Going into the bottom of the sixth, the score is 62.
It's a ground ball to the right side, steered by Phillips. Looks accurately. Yes. He's there in time, and the Yankees are the world champion.
That's my only World Series championship. I played 24 years. And how lucky I was to get the last out. Throw it to me, touch first base. I mean, that's the ultimate feeling in the world.
The A's, the world champs.
Leonard right up to second baseman. Good start to the inning. A leadoff single.
For the first time in 15 seasons,
he has one hit in the game.
The world championship goes to Oakland.
The A's were a portrait of exhilaration on the field. But when the celebration moved to the clubhouse, the scene was a bit different.
Exactly what you saw right there.
2 balls and no strike.
This guy's got great back control. If he wants, the man should put the hit and run on right here. He'll definitely get one of them.
He did not celebrate. So we had very muted hugs, and we felt good about it. Went back to the Oakland Coliseum and had a little get-together. So some bittersweet stuff there.
Dave Stewart would be named Steers MVP. Just one of several A's worthy of the honor. But even to this day, the undeniable fact remains that the '89 Fall Classic will always be remembered for things much bigger than they could.
You look at the whole thing when you talk about the '89 World Series. It's not going to be who was MVP or even who won the World Series. But the volunteers that were so gracious in helping out through the tragedies that happened. The collapse of 880 and the Bay Bridge itself. And that's where the focus is going to be. Baseball will be secondary, exactly where it should be.
The '89 season is also recalled for a different kind of landmark episode. Major League Baseball's decision to suspend all-time hit leader Pete Rose for life for betting on games.
The banishment for life
taken for
Pete
a ball
Rose from baseball.
That runner on second is going to be
sad
going
end of
on
a sorry
on the ground
episode.
to the right side. In that situation,
And just 8 days after Bart Tremonti announced his ruling, there was a tragic coda when the commissioner died of a heart attack.
He takes
In
the pitch to
1990,
left.
with Lou Piniella now managing Rose's old team, the
And
Reds
he puts it
surprised
away
the
for
mighty
the out.
Athletics by sweeping them in the Fall Classic.
Cincinnati, the champions of baseball.
Stepping in, Lance
would be the only one in Oakland's run of dominance. Across the bay, the NL champions would maintain their popularity for
The
years.
infielders have to be thinking ground ball to the left side. You look the runner back on the first.
And in
Ground ball to the right
2010,
side, just go to
a new
first.
generation of Giants
He's hitting
would finally bring a
299
first
with
ever
3 home
World Series
runs
title
and 13
to San Francisco.
RBIs.
For the first time in 52 years, the Giants are world champions.
2-2 the count. It's hit out to center. He squeezes it for the out. Not in time. Mahomes gets ahead 1 ball and no strike. The pitch. Fastball up high for a ball. They're going to pick off attempt at third.
Sometimes you try to make the hitter chase your pitch. That's exactly what I saw.
Cal Ripken Jr. has reached the unreachable star. Here comes Knight and the pitch.
And the pitch. Leonard first from third after the walk.
Welcome to Baseball Seasons 1993. Baseball at a crossroads.
Go crazy, folks! Go crazy! The Blue Jays need a run to force innings. 2 runs and they're the world champion.
It's a scenario that's been drawn up in thousands, maybe millions of baseball fantasies.
The tying run is at second. The run that would win the World Series is at first. Joe Carter is the batter.
Bottom of the ninth, runners on base. A home run doesn't just win the game, it wins the series. As the crowd rises to its feet, everything goes silent. The pitcher looks in for the sign and gets it. The windup and the delivery. The final pitch of the '93 season was the culmination of a journey that for the two teams left standing began in almost exactly opposite places. The Toronto Blue Jays were defending champions.
First time in history, the World Championship banner will fly north of the border.
The fans of Toronto were so into that team.
You're Canadian?
I'm Canadian.
Okay, I won't hold it against you.
They had speed. They had power.
You can forget about it. Joe Carter puts one up in the seats.
They had excellent starting pitching.
He struck out 9 strikeouts for Juan Dursman.
Those were the days where the Blue Jays are the prime team in the league.
World champs are back again. Time to repeat.
But if the Blue Jays were going to repeat in '93, they would need to replace key pieces of the '92 team not returning to Toronto.
Pat Gillick really made some key moves in that '93 season to help solidify a great offense. Paul Molitor was the pickup.
Molitor, a prolific hitter for 15 seasons with the Milwaukee Brewers, would be joining a lineup headlined by All-Stars Robbie Alomar and Joe Carter, making an already formidable offense even stronger.
Coming over from the Brewers, and jokingly all year long, he said, you know, if you can't beat them,
Damn. So I've been chasing these guys for a long time.
The Jays also needed a starter after their hired gun for the '92 stretch run had left in free agency.
They weren't going to be able to sign David Cone, and when they couldn't do that, they said that they were going to go after me pretty good, and they did.
Dave Stewart arrived with a championship pedigree of his own from Oakland, along with a leadership presence that was just as important.
He was one of those guys that galvanized everybody. Hey, let's go to dinner. You're not being left out. And those little gestures create a team along the way.
Hopefully we're going to do what no other team has done since the 77-78 Yankees. We want to back-to-back this thing.
We got so many new guys. We got to wait and see. We got to wait and find out.
Expectations were not as high for the Philadelphia Phillies in the spring of 1993. The team was coming off 6 straight losing seasons, including a last-place finish in 1992.
Those were not happy times. Every year, 60,000 people would show up on opening day, and then most of them would never come back. And the people who did come back, they weren't happy people. They weren't happy to be there.
The club had struggled for a number of years, but I thought we had the makings of a club that could contend within a year or so.
That optimism had its roots in a trio of hitters, known as much for their brash and colorful personalities as their offensive talents.
Swing and a long drive to deep right.
Catcher Darren Dalton.
A tremendous home run.
Outfielder Lenny Dykstra.
Nails.
And first baseman John Kruk.
This is me. Well, he's skinny. So that ain't me. No beard. He looks like he can run, too, so I know it definitely is not me.
We knew we could score runs. We had an offense that was built on scoring runs, but we never did have pitching. If we got consistent starting pitching, we didn't know we could win. We thought we could compete.
While the Phillies hoped for quality pitching, the Atlanta Braves banked on it.
We had great starting pitching.
Strike 3 called outside corner. Avery got him with a fastball. Glavine has picked up his 5th shutout of the year.
Smoltz and Glavine and Avery. When those guys took the mound, they had real confidence they were going to win.
Rays win. Smoltz gets a shutout. Rays have won 5 in a row.
Their young pitchers were starting to develop into mature pitchers, and I thought that, you know, if they could add some people along the way, they had a chance to have a long run.
Smoltz wins the battle.
If you have better pitching than everybody else, you're going to have a better chance to win, and that was our philosophy.
A philosophy that led the already pitching-rich Braves to make a huge addition in '93.
An organization like ours made an extraordinary effort signing Greg Maddux. To have a guy like Greg Maddux become the bell cow of our pitching staff and to lead those already talented guys, that just showed that the Atlanta Braves are going to have to be reckoned with going forward.
Maddux was a big signing, but an even bigger free agent splash was made in the city by the Bay when the Giants got the reigning NL MVP to head west.
Goodbye, home run, Barry Bonds.
Bonds came with incredible across-the-board skills. Excellent defender in left field, excellent base runner. He did have power, could hit for average, could run like the wind.
It's a triple for Bonds.
He had every skill imaginable.
This guy will do anything he want to do on that baseball field. If he want to get a hit, he got a hit.
Ground ball, base hit up the middle.
If you want to make a great catch, you got a great catch.
Bonds to the warning track to the wall, leaps and makes a great catch.
You knew that this was the best player in baseball, and the Giants had laid out money to sign him.
Agreement will make Barry the best paid player in the game. It's a lot of money, but there's only one Barry Bonds.
Bonds had grown up in the Bay Area and now was coming home for a record 6-year, nearly $44 million contract to play in the same outfield as father Bobby and godfather Willie Mays had once rolled.
Willie's a center fielder, and my father played right field, and I played left field. So I completed that family circle. I fulfilled my dream.
In those days, the Giants were a have-not franchise, and when they signed Barry Bonds, it was a message to the fans that we're going to be respectable, we're going to put a good team on the field, and we're going to start with this guy as the cornerstone.
And in San Francisco, which is a real label shopper's town, that worked great because they want recognizable names, and they want the sense that when they go to the ballpark, they're going to the coolest place in town. And the Giants in '93 were the coolest place in San Francisco.
Full count here. The delivery.
In 1993, the reliable sounds of spring training were familiar, even if change was afoot all across the game. Commissioner Fay Vincent was out, and in his place, Brewers owner Bud Selig was named chairman of the Major League Executive Council.
You'll have every ounce of energy in my body as we move the greatest game in the world along.
Just a few months into his tenure, Selig presided over the game's first expansion since 1977, as the Marlins and Rockies were introduced.
I remember the winter before watching the whole expansion draft and trying to figure out how that was all going to work, and the task of everybody trying to figure out, how good are these teams going to be? Are they going to win any games? What's the talent going to be on these teams?
And with the first selection in the first round, the Colorado Rockies have chosen from Atlanta right-handed pitcher David Need.
When you add two teams, the one thing you're going to weaken yourself in more than anything is your pitching staff all around the league, because now you're trying to fill 20 to 22 more spots in the big league level. And what you do there is you either get veterans who don't belong out there or young kids who are just not ready to perform.
Maybe.
The Rockies were a mix of young and old, with the biggest name, the Big Cat, veteran first baseman Andres Galarraga, signed as a free agent.
They set that defense at double play. Get a ground ball right here. They might get two.
Hi, Mom.
In the Marlins' first camp, one of the toughest tasks was simply putting names with faces.
We called it the name tag spring training when we first got there, because we were basically, I guess you'd say, cast-offs from other organizations.
Spring training. Yeah, I love it.
It took a while to kind of get our own identity, but at the same time, it was exciting to go into South Florida that had never had baseball before and be part of something new.
Something new that would begin with a pitch from the game's oldest player, when a 45-year-old knuckleballer brought his career full circle on opening day.
Charlie Huff, he is a marvel. He was raised about 15 minutes from the stadium in Hialeah, Florida. And now, here it comes, the first pitch in Major League history here in Miami. Strike, and we're underway in Miami.
A moment later, the knuckleballer finished off his first batter in trademark fashion.
On the corner. So let it be duly noted, the first pitch ever here was a strike, and the first batter struck out.
A few days later, when the Rockies opened at home, their first batter, Eric Young, showed what was to come in the mile-high altitude.
Taken for a ball.
And a 3-2 pitch.
Mahomes takes the ball and is looking to a little shot to an end.
Meanwhile, in San Francisco, Barry Bonds made a promising splash in his candlestick debut.
That one's high. Deep right field. This has a chance. Gone. Home run, Barry Bonds.
With Bonds anchoring the lineup, the Giants had aspirations of a championship. Something certainly familiar to the Toronto Blue Jays.
Your 1992 World Series champion.
There goes the runner.
And as 93 began, there was a looming sense the World Series would again go through Toronto.
Okay, this dude did not bring his A game in, but hey, in fairness, you can't be
all the experts in spring training of 1993 picked us to finish last.
He grounds it right back to the mound, Mulholland, and that's the ball game.
We went into Houston, we ended up sweeping that series. That was one of the things to me that said, you know, we have a chance here being pretty good.
All of a sudden, you knew something special was in the works. That team had a special feeling about it, and even more than that, it had pitching.
Behind Curt Schilling's complete game shutout on April 11th, the Phillies took sole possession of first place in the NL East. It was a lead they would never relinquish, thanks in part to the emergence of Schilling.
Strikeout number 5 for Schilling. Curt Schilling goes the distance.
It wasn't just him. You see what Tommy Green could do. You could see what Danny Jackson was going to mean to that team.
Second strikeout for Jackson.
Pitching was just really our strength that year, and very consistent. All 5 starters went out and had a career year.
And Mulholland gets his 6th complete game.
Once our pitching picked up, then the fans just got into it. They sensed what we sensed. We have a chance now of getting into postseason.
And these Phillies fans, they're starting to believe.
By mid-May, the Phillies had pulled far ahead in the NL East, with a team of bawdy misfits apparently intent on shattering the image of the polished, modern-day athlete.
Crazy bunch here in Philadelphia. They're having a great time.
It was like your local neighborhood softball team.
John Kruk looks like the type of guy that went to a fantasy camp and stayed.
You got the sense that they'd gone to bed at 5 in the morning and then showed up at the park at 9 with the beer still on.
The score is 9-2.
Yeah, the Phillies were kind of the,
now on to the bottom of the
and I say this with the utmost perfection, kind of the dirtbags of baseball that year.
Look at the Duke all over that hat.
They basically came out of mud holes. They always looked like they'd already played 9 before they took the field.
Here's a scraggly-looking group. They pride themselves on that. But you wouldn't want any of us dating your daughters, but if a run needed to be driven in or someone needed to get on base to ignite an inning, I would take that team over any that I've seen in a while.
The 27 Yankees had Murderers Row. This group unapologetically dubbed themselves Macho Row.
Macho Row Mo. Dalton, Nick, Hollins, Crucky, same kind of hair. There were exceptions. Some people couldn't have that kind of hair.
We're going to fill in these holes.
Oh, yeah, that's what I need.
We didn't usually let pitchers in that area because we didn't like them.
Take it down. Check out the
But we let Mitch Williams in there because he wasn't really a pitcher.
Mitch Wild Thing Williams was the Phillies' unpredictable closer, just as likely to walk the bases loaded as he was to strike the side out.
It's always an adventure when it comes to the game.
And Mitch Williams hears the cheer.
Williams comes in and puts out the fire. He's saved his 41st game of the year.
It's our bullpen coach right here. He's got all our equipment.
Made Atlantic strategy here. As soon as the personalities, the fans, and the players, they levitated towards each other.
Characters that are on this ball club, they're winning.
A 3-run home run for Dalton. It's a double for the Phillies. We're going to win this ball game. The Bells of Water.
And this crowd on its feet for their Phillies.
While the Phillies played with a big lead in the NL East, the White Sox played with a big herd in the AL West.
Frank Thomas, the most feared hitter in the White Sox lineup.
He had tremendous plate discipline. Rarely swung at a pitch that was out of the strike zone. And had power to all field.
That awesome power led some to even take pity on the ball.
I used to say, you know, he hurt that ball. He hurt that ball.
He hurt it.
And one day he hit a home run there in Chicago.
Way back.
He was going around first base, and I'm watching him. And all of a sudden, I said,
The big hurt.
and that's where it started.
93, he really came into his own to be able to do it all.
But Thomas's domination wasn't unassisted, as Robin Ventura provided protection for him in the lineup.
Forget it, Robin goes deep.
Giving the Southsiders a fearsome 1-2 power punch.
Batman Rom thing, I was more of a tag-along.
Back-to-back shots by Thomas and Ventura.
I got to hit behind. It's an amazing hitter. It probably gave me a lot of opportunities with the bases loaded.
A grand slam home run by Robin Ventura.
With ample offense, aided by Cy Young candidate Jack McDowell's pitching, the Sox took first place in May. Meanwhile, in the East, the defending champs were bolstered by a new offensive force, as first baseman John Olerud was hitting everything in sight.
John Olerud had as good a hitting season as anybody that I ever witnessed. I never saw a hitter have a balanced swing and a balanced approach almost every at bat.
In July, Olerud was still hitting over 400, as seriously as anyone had flirted with Ted Williams' 406 mark in years.
We have a youngster by the name of Michael Piazza. This guy has got power. He has an outstanding arm. He can become a marquee player.
Mike is just so strong. Piazza showed the tremendous power.
In the first half of '93, there was no bigger breakout star than Mike Piazza. The son of a childhood friend of Tommy Lasorda, drafted by the team, the story went, as a favorite.
He wasn't drafted as a favorite. I wanted him drafted. I got 5 of my friends who were connected with baseball to go out and see him play. And 5 of them called me back and said he can't do anything. So that's when I decided we'll draft him.
How'd you like to get a guy, Bob, in the 62nd round where that kid's too old?
As a rookie, he seemed to be very polished, and he certainly thrust himself into the conversation of the up-and-coming great players.
Piazza would set several rookie records for a catcher.
29 home runs, the most ever by a rookie catcher.
And be the only rookie invited to the All-Star game in Baltimore.
From the Los Angeles Dodgers, catcher Mike Piazza.
It was a midsummer classic set to showcase the new Camden Yards. But once the game started, the spotlight shined on an amusing mismatch.
All-Star games are supposed to be a lot of fun for the players, for the media, for the fans. For John Kruk, I guess that the '93 All-Star game was a lot of fun. Randy Johnson's on the mound, and he throws one of those 185-mile-an-hour fastballs past Kruk.
Watch the reaction of John Kruk.
When I stepped in the box, I said, all I want to do is make contact.
Would you say his heart is palpitating a bit?
And after first pitch, that's all I want to do is live.
I don't blame John one bit. He bailed out again at the breaking ball. He wants no part of Randy Johnson.
And I lived, so I had a good at-bat.
You knew that was coming. John had no chance.
People had been telling him he had no chance of baseball success his entire life. But Jim Abbott, with only one hand, defied the odds and became a big league pitcher.
For everything to fall in place for him that day, it was a great moment for Jimmy, and just a great guy, tremendous competitor.
And on a late summer afternoon in '93, he put an exclamation point on his storybook career.
Indians have not had a man pass first base. And the ground ball is short. Velarde, he did it. He did it. No hitter for Jim Abbott.
The memories of afterwards, seeing the fans jump up and down, it's nice to be any part of that, and to, for it to be a no-hitter that you threw, it's a great honor.
Abbott's gem came just before the no-hit king finally rested his arm.
I wanted to announce that this is going to be my final season.
In 27 years on the mound, he'd struck out more batters than anyone in baseball history.
Nolan Ryan is an icon in America without question. He was bigger than life.
Be able to throw as hard as he did for as many years as he did is just mind-boggling. 5,700 strikeouts plus. That's just a sick stat, in my opinion.
Strikeout number 5,000 for Nolan Ryan.
Also hanging up his spikes in 1993, George Brett.
If you talk about the Kansas City Royals, George Brett's name is going to come up.
Through passion and hitting, he'd become a Royals legend.
George Brett has his 3,000 hit.
George Brett was one of the best hitters in baseball history.
As 2 future Hall of Famers exited the diamond, change of a different sort was in store.
We had gone from 16 teams to 20 to 24 to 26 to 28, and so we needed to create a situation where we had additional teams in the playoffs.
The owners voted to realign divisions and expand the postseason the following year. And as September approached, it became apparent 1993 would be the last pennant race of its kind. It wouldn't disappoint. In 1993, the NL West was the setting for what would be the last great race of the four-division era. Anchored by Barry Bonds, the Giants had a balanced attack on both sides of the ball and had led the division for most of the season.
Boy, I had a dynamite team. I think I had 4 Golden Glove guys on that team. Matt Williams, Robbie Thompson, Barry, Kurt Manwaring, which we called Money Man. He was going to tag you out the plate and hold on to the ball.
The throw is in time. Manwaring held on to it.
They had most of the elements you need to be a really, really good team. And by June, it looked like they were going to be that, and the rest of the league was going to just be waving at them.
The Giants were a dominant team and had amassed about a 9.5 game lead on us.
I remember going to the All-Star game, I believe, in Baltimore, and seeing Barry Bonds, and he said, "We're finally going to knock you off." And I said, "Well, it's still a long season. You know, we still got time to catch you."
And just a few days after the All-Star break, the pitching-rich Braves boosted their offense by acquiring power-hitting first baseman Fred McGriff from the San Diego Padres.
And I'll never forget, the first game he played in the old Atlanta Fulton County Stadium, the stadium caught on fire. And I'll never forget this. We're down on the field watching this blaze. The press box was burning up. Ted Turner comes down on the field, Stan Kasten, we're all standing around, and Ted said, "We're going to play this game." He said, "The stadium caught on fire, and the Braves are going to catch on fire." And he was so right.
A standing ovation for Fred McGriff.
I joined the team in the middle of the year, and the first night I hit a home run, which made it a lot easier for me after that.
To center field and deep. Back to the wall is Jordan. It's out of here. We're tied. Welcome to Atlanta, Fred McGriff.
McGriff's impact was immediate as the Braves won 27 of their first 35 games with the crime dog in the lineup.
They won series after series after series. Every day is a new Fred McGriff home run highlight.
Goes deep this time. He sends Gilkey back to the wall. He can't get it. Home run, Fred McGriff. 3 home runs in less than 24 hours.
McGriff would hit 19 second-half home runs overall, helping the Braves make up 10 games on the Giants. By mid-September, Atlanta had edged ahead and was trying to hold on the final weeks of the season.
The whole month of September, every night, one of us was taking the field knowing that the other team had already won, and you better take care of business tonight or you're going to fall behind.
Tied for first on the season's final day, the Braves earned their 104th win.
And the Braves head to the clubhouse where the TVs are just warming up.
While in L.A., needing a win to force a playoff, Giants manager Dusty Baker picked Solomon Torres, a 21-year-old rookie with only 7 career starts, for game 162.
As it turned out, Torres was not prepared for that stage at all, was nervous the night before, and hopeless once he got on the mound. The game blew up instantaneously.
They are off. And Offerman hits it to left field, a base hit. Reed will score, and the Dodgers lead 3-0.
The Dodgers clobbered Torres, and then the San Francisco bullpen in a 12-1 rout that ended the Giants' season.
Nothing but disbelief and shock can be the dominant emotions right there.
They had won 103 games, but the Giants were going home, while the Braves were headed to the playoffs for a 3rd straight year.
And to have to win 104 games to win our division, I mean, that's what it took because the Giants were that strong.
As W.C. Field said, I'd rather be in Philadelphia, and that's where we're going on Tuesday.
He's a smart man, yes.
Philadelphia hadn't made the postseason in a decade, but this year, the team had controlled the NL East for the entire season.
Forkball. Pitch to Clark, rounded down the first base side. Fair ball. Kruk fields it underhands. Covered by Paul. The game is over, and the Phillies are the National League East champions.
In the AL, the White Sox had dominated the West in '93, riding the power bat of MVP Frank Thomas.
Oh, that's way back. You can put it on the board. Yes, Lord have mercy.
And the power arm of Cy Young winner Jack McDowell.
Your 1993 American League West
And in Toronto, the Blue Jays' John Olerud, Paul Molitor, and Robbie Alomar became the first teammates ever to finish 1-2-3 in a batting race, leading Toronto to another division title.
The relay held onto by Whitaker, and the Blue Jays win the game.
And now, a shot to become the first team since the 1978 Yankees to repeat as champs. For a final time, the 1993 playoffs would have just 4 teams. In this case, a compelling mix of perennial powerhouses and unpredictable upstarts.
Tonight, baseball's postseason returns to Philadelphia for the first time in 10 years as the Phillies host the Atlanta Braves in Game 1 of the National League Championship Series.
Atlanta was heavily favored. The Braves had it all.
The Braves go to the World Series!
You know the history of what they had, but you know, we had something that they didn't, and that was the fact that we weren't intimidated by them. We weren't afraid of their pitching.
The Phils also had a formidable pitcher of their own in Game 1 starter Curt Schilling.
The 2-2 pitch. He struck him out.
He strikes out 5 batters in a row.
Here's number 5. A league championship series record.
That kind of set the stage for the whole thing.
Schilling left after 8 with a 3-2 lead, leaving it to his bullpen and defense to finish off the win.
Swing ground ball to third. It might be 2. Wide throw by Baptiste to right field. It's safe all around.
Kim Batiste's error allowed the Braves to tie it up. But in the 10th, with a winning run on second, he had a chance to redeem himself.
Swing a hard ground ball. Base hit. Base hit. Down the left field line. Truck scores. Bills win. This place is going wild.
Meanwhile, in the AL, the world champion Blue Jays had arrived in Chicago with their sights set on a repeat.
Going in against Toronto in the early 90s was playing against an all-star team. You felt like you had to have a perfect game to beat them.
The Blue Jay lineup had 1-2-3 in batting with Olerud, Paul Molitor, and Robbie Alomar.
The Blue Jays, the best hitting team in the American League. The White Sox boast the best pitching.
The White Sox put together a